This is Hides.
And this is Jules. And we're two girls who talk about stuff.
Look at that. We haven't even done that in like a year. And we just did it flawlessly. That's the best we've ever done that.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And I just realized that all of our other communications have been over phone, not video. So, our whole Two Girls Who Talk About Stuff is on a podcast. So you're the techie girl. Will we be able to take the audio of this and upload it to our podcast as well?
Sure. Anything is workoutable. We'll figure it out.
Okay.
It'll be great.
Well, I want to know what on earth has been happening in your world over the last, who even knows, last time we spoke. But I know we continue to communicate via Facebook Messenger, which is great, but we haven't done our show in a long time. So fill me in, fill the listeners in, and tell us what's going on.
Wow, where to begin? Well, have you ever experienced peer pressure?
I probably went through my teens.
Yeah. So about probably 2 years ago, I started feeling peer pressure from a bunch of my friends to go to Africa. And I basically was like, there are 50 other countries I want to go to before I even set foot on the continent of Africa, because yes, I'm aware it's a continent and not a country. And they were going to Kenya, and they had gone a few times, and it looked fun and interesting, and I don't like hot places. And, so I was like, okay, all right, fine. Okay, I'll go. Okay, I'll go. I know it's just, and so in March of 2015, I went, and those pivotal moments in your life, and I know you and I have discussed this so many times, where all of a sudden everything just turns on a dime and your life says, okay, now we're switching, and ready, set, go. And as I was just mentioning when we were chatting, it's like all of these different things come in, and I just have to roll with them, because I get all of these downloads from God, and he says, okay, now this, now this, now this. In fact, I was saying to a friend yesterday, I actually asked God to put the miracles on hold for a day so that I can catch up. I need my technology to catch up with the miracles. So I went to Kenya. It completely just radically changed my life. And I literally felt like, oh, this is why I'm here. Like, not, obviously I love my husband. I love my kids. I love my family. But this is that other thing that I'm here for. And these are the other people that I'm here for. So since then, I've been back twice. And a month and a half ago, I took 2 back-to-back groups with 13 people each to Kenya, and just stayed over there for a month with my daughter. I didn't really realize until I was flying on the plane home, like, what I had done. And I started bawling, and I said, I just spent a month in Africa with my 10-year-old. Who am I? What is this life? Like, how did this happen? It's really been just a huge stretch of my comfort zone. In the meantime, I'm launching humanitarian classes for kids in Utah, and to basically teach them what I've learned. And I'm taking homeschoolers to Kenya. So I took 6 homeschooling families to Kenya in May. And to see these kids in Africa was unbelievable. So that, and running a business, and homeschooling, and eating. I just ate a cookie for breakfast. That kind of gives you an indication. I went shopping. I have tons of healthy food, but my friend Ellie came over and babysat my daughter the other night, and she made sugar cookies, and they were sitting there, and I was like, convenience. So that'll kind of tell you, where I'm at. What about you?
Well, no, I want to know. So you're in Kenya, you're there. What are you doing there? Like, you're there for a whole month, and you're seeing other families that are there, and kids, and I've seen pictures, but give me a day. What is a day like there?
Wow. Well, so after I got back from Kenya in March of 2015, I kind of marinated. I had 8 weeks of re-entry where I was a total idiot. And I walked around with like this, I miss Kenya, which is pretty typical. Everybody did that on my 2 trips in May as well. And now I really warn groups, like, listen, you're going to be an idiot. You're going to want to talk about Kenya all the time, and no one's going to care. So call me. Trust me, your family will be so fed up with you, and it'll be okay, because they, then they'll go and then they'll understand, and then you'll have someone to talk to. And so, so one Sunday I just kept thinking, what am I supposed to do with this? What am I supposed to do? And I got out of the shower to get ready for church, and a voice came into my head that said, go start a group on Facebook called 100 Humanitarians, and I'll let you know why. Well, you don't really argue with that voice. And so I did that. I mean, I didn't even pause to get dressed. I was like, grab a phone. How do we set up Facebook groups on the phone? Okay, got it. And then it just kind of grew from there. And so now, I mean, this week we hit over 1,000 people in that group. And the concept of it is, what is the power of 100 people on any given project in the world to create change? So if it can be anything. I mean, it can be, clean water. It can be planting trees. It can be donating cows, so it really is one of those things where it's what are we trying to do here? So as this built, my first goal was to do little projects and prove that we could do it. So I was looking for smaller projects. I implemented a $5 Friday fundraiser. And so I would say, hey, this Friday, we're going to raise money for desks for a school. So we did that, and everybody just donated 5, 10, 15, whatever they wanted to contribute. And we were able to build 20 desks for a school in the Mouth Forest, which is a really remote area. I mean, literally, it's so remote that you drive past donkeys and you pretty much have to take Jeeps up there. Although I've seen minivans, so whatever. Anyway, and so we built desks. Then there was a kitchen at the same school that had fallen down. It was a mud shack, and they cooked for 300 kids every day, and it fell down in the rain. So I said, well, let's rebuild the kitchen. And so we rebuilt the kitchen, and we rebuilt a water well. And these are things where literally it wasn't me doing it. It was just me kind of holding the space and saying, okay, who wants to be in on this? Which is my idea with the 100 Humanitarians is, hey, who wants to contribute? Is this something that resonates for you? So amazing miracles and stories came out of that. And what ended up happening, this is actually the scariest and most interesting story that came out of the group in May. About 3 weeks prior to me leaving for the first trip, I didn't know what we were doing, and neither did my guides. I would ask them, what are we doing on the second trip? Because we had the first trip planned out. And really, once I assemble the groups, then it's, okay, what should we do? Here are all the different options. And so I said, I don't know what we're doing. And I said, I don't know. So I asked 2 members of the group who independently, I said, are we going to the Mount or are we going to Bomet? And just to backtrack, when I had talked to one of the guides, Moses, about what we're doing this fall, he said, I think we should go to Bomet County. So it just kind of clicked in my head. Okay, Bomet County. And then my house cleaner said to me, oh, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine in the UK, because she's from the UK. I want to introduce you to a friend of mine. He does a lot of work in Kenya. So he and I messaged back and forth. I said, where do you play? And he said, well, I'm working with the governor of Bomet County. I said, oh, that's 2. Okay, maybe I ought to pay attention to this. So when I reached out to Jen and Heather and I said, where are we going? And they said, Bomet. Heather said, hang on a second. And she looks in her Facebook messages, because Heather and I had gone to Kenya in March of 2015 together. She looks in her Facebook messages and she said, I have a message from a woman named Anita. And she said, please come and do a project in my village. I live in Mombasa, but I'm from Bomet. So I said, okay, that's 3. We're going to Bomet. So she connected me with Anita, and we identified 5 families that we would go and visit, because what we're really trying to implement is the Families Mentoring Families program, so that we go over there and we mentor their families, but we get mentored by their families as well, because they have so much to teach us about love and about simplicity and about sustainability. This picture right here was the water well that we helped to rebuild. And the coolest thing was that it's my friend Christine, and she said, hey, there's a well in my village, and it's just a trickle. And these women stand for hours and hours and hours to get water. I mean, they're trying to fill up the big yellow buckets, containers that you see in Africa all the time. She said they're out there for hours, and they often don't get enough water to bathe or to feed their families. So it's $300 to completely redo the well. Can we do it? And I said, yeah. So raised the money for that. When Christine went to the well, she realized what was carved on it was that it was her dad built the original well, and she didn't even know that.
Oh, wow.
And so when we rebuilt it, she was basically continuing her father's legacy. So cool stories come up like that all the time. And it turned out when we went to Beaumet, we ended up doing a workshop. Days for Girls is reusable feminine hygiene kits, and Christine is a seamstress, and she sews the kits and helps train. And so we ended up doing a workshop for 100 women. And because of that synergy, we were able to work with Anita to, now they're being taught English, and they're being taught how to read and write, and we're setting things up so that they can learn to sew their own Days for Girls kits. And so it's just kind of had this ripple effect. So when we got back, the question was, okay, how do we maintain this? How do we keep going with this? And what came from that was a business box for families. And so now what we're focusing on is finding 100 humanitarians who will contribute $10 a month to go towards a business box for families, which will include a cow, a goat, 5 chickens, 3 garden boxes, like square foot garden boxes, and then 10 trees. And that in a box will allow families to sell the milk, to sell the eggs, to plant a garden, and then they can pay their own school fees for their kids. Instead of us fundraising for school fees, then they pay for those school fees. So it helps them to be self-reliant, and that's what we're really focusing on, is helping families in Kenya to be self-reliant and preparing them to be able to use the business box. And then the next step is we have 3 plots of land in Kenya, and we're working on building cultural education centers to provide ongoing mentoring and support for those families and for the community, and where they can come and learn personal development, learn business skills. So really, our whole focus is how do we help these families get out of poverty? And when I say poverty, poverty means something completely different to me now than it did prior to going to Kenya, because I know people who by the world standards would be considered poor, but they're not in Kenya. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I don't see them as being poor anymore compared to the other poverty that I've seen. So it's really about helping them and mentoring them and nurturing them through a mindset shift while helping support their basic needs as well. So that's where we are right now. And we're bringing 2 Maasai warriors to the U.S. For the month of like September, October, and then they'll fly back with our fall teams that are going over. We have 2 full trips in late October and November. And honestly, this is a faith walk, and I just kind of follow the breadcrumbs, and that voice, that original voice still talks to me and says, okay, do this now. Okay, do this now. So like I said, the miracles just pour in on a daily basis, and I just get to kind of facilitate and organize them. And I tell people I'm not really the leader of this as much as I am kind of the space holder and the steward of what's coming in. But this has taken so much effort from so many people that are just every single day saying, okay, I'll help with this, I'll help with this, I'll help with this. So really, it's not my gig. It's a whole bunch of people working on moving this forward. So,
well, and collaborating together to, make all this happen, which is great. So I'm looking here in your description real quick. So people who want to become a part of this group, they simply search on Facebook 100 Humanitarians, correct? And then they hit the join button. So that's how they can become part of the group. And then it describes down here, you have Mondays, Tuesday, trips and travel tips. Now, if someone else has a project, would they communicate with you personally first, or can they just post it in here? Or tell me a little bit about how the group works.
Yeah, most people do message me and say, hey, can I post about this? I'm very open. There's a few things, I'm very open to people posting. If it's service-oriented, if it's humanitarian, if it's benefits people, it's not just, hey, I'm doing an event, so I'm going to promote it, but it has to be a cause-driven event, and then I'll approve it. One thing that I'm really cautious about is when we do these projects, I don't want people to run the funds or their projects. I don't want them to run the funds through 100 Humanitarians. Right. So that's what I just try and educate people and say, yes, absolutely. Let's, go ahead and post that, let's see who's interested, but I'm not taking the money for that.
Right.
So it's just a matter of 100 Humanitarians is collaboration, but the things that we work on specifically that can go through the 501c3 are related to what we're doing in Kenya. And it's not just Kenya, but it's also Ghana. We're expanding into Guatemala. Uganda's come in, Peru, Mexico, the Navajo Reservation in Arizona. And we just kind of watch for these countries to come in. And it's always somebody that says, I don't know, I'm just feeling pulled to this country to do something there. I'm like, great, you go do it, and we'll totally, support your effort and movement. So it's about empowering individuals also to step into what calls to them, when it comes to humanitarian work.
I love it. I love it. Well, tell us what else is happening. I have one more question about the 100 Humanitarians. So oftentimes they're money donations, which people can do, but sometimes different people need things. Are there items, and is it just easier for you to take money and buy the items? Or if people have a lot of things, could they ship them somewhere? School supplies, or what's the best format for that?
We've taken over school supplies. We took over school kits that were donated to us. The problem is that we have really limited, we Jeep through Africa, so we're not in big vans. We're in Jeeps, and we're with Maasai warriors the entire time. And when you have 16 people going on a trip in Jeeps plus suitcases, it's a little overwhelming. So money is way better because we can create money. We can hand someone a school kit, and that's great because they need it. But if we can combine all of that effort to buy a business box for families so that they can pay for their own school kits, way better. We're in this for what is the long-term solution, not the handout. And so for us, we took tons of donations over in May, and it was a nightmare because we had all these suitcases. We were like, where are we going to put this? And we finally, by the end of a month, after we had been hauling this around for all month, I left a big suitcase with our friend Edith, and I said, figure out where this stuff's going to go. Because I don't even know. And they were all, it was well-meaning. People brought shoes. Because they hear that and they say, oh, shoes for Africa. Well, no. Not really, because Africa doesn't want our junk. They really don't. Countries don't want, in fact, Kenya will turn stuff away. What they want us to help with is building their infrastructure. So I can take Days for Girls kits over, and we'll do that. However, it's more powerful to hire Christine and her team of 5 or 6 people to sew the kits, because then they get paid.
Yeah.
Right. So we can have a bunch of people in the US sewing kits, and then we have to figure out how to haul them over there, or we can pay people in the country and help their economy and help those families. I would rather do that than figure out yes, drop all of your kits off to me and then we're going to donate them. And then, it makes more sense that way. So with the 2 trips that we're doing this fall, I've tasked each group with, let's each raise $5,000, $3,000 of that fundraise, that money will go towards business boxes for families. We'll help them build the garden boxes. We'll deliver the cows. We'll do all of that, plant the trees, so that we're mentoring them and so that we're really digging in and getting involved with them. Then $1,000 will be to do the Days for Girls kits and facilitate the workshops for that. What I love to do, I really love to make it immersion. And so we'll have Edith make dinner for our whole group. We'll have Nancy feed us. David, who is one of our guides, is actually building a house. It's the first house that he'll live in that's not a mud hut. And he was able to build it because of his commission from the last trip. So he's waiting for us to come this fall and do a big housewarming party with his whole family. So everything we do, I focus on, let's do immersion. You'll know these people, you'll love these people, they'll feel like family to you. And that's what it's all about, is creating those connections. So
now some people that may be fearful of traveling to another country where they don't know anybody and all that, are there things to be afraid of or to watch out for, or do you really feel safe when you're traveling over there?
That's the funny thing, is that I feel completely safe. I've got 2 bodyguards. In fact, I joke when I get back, I'm like, where are Moses and David? Because they're around all the time. And no, 2 things is that, 1, I trust them implicitly with my life, with my daughter's life. And I even, talked to people after the trip and they said, oh my gosh, I would trust them 100%, because that question comes up a lot. The things to worry about are malaria, because it is a developing country, but I take malaria meds every time I go. There's typhoid. So there's basically intestinal issues that can come up. So we always recommend taking medicine for things like that. That falling in love with children and wanting to bring them home, that's probably the biggest risk that you encounter. It's the safety issues are in that area of Kenya. I don't worry at all. I really don't. Anywhere you go, there's going to be challenges. What if you were in Dallas last week?
Yeah,
so,
right.
Or Minnesota or what? So really, I tell people, one of my friends who's coming next May, she posted that she was planning on going to Kenya. And one of her friends said, oh my gosh, well, I now have, 10 months to worry about you. And I saw that she was in Sacramento and I said, oh, sweetheart, Sacramento is far more dangerous than the Masai Mara, which is like, it's similar to our reservation. It's just a big open space with where this tribe lives. So as far as safety, we're in Nairobi. Nairobi's a big city, but so is New York and Chicago and LA. And you just take precautions and you don't do dumb things. And I do tell people, whatever David and Moses tell you to do or not do, you do or don't do. Like, they are absolutely in charge of us, and because they're tasked with keeping us safe. So, and they take it very, very seriously. So yeah, I really don't worry. Anything could happen, but I have people sign a waiver and they get insurance. So
there you go.
What can I say? So yeah.
Well, this is wonderful. Well, let's shift gears a little bit. And I want to know a burning question. Do you do homeschool throughout the summer is the first question. And then take me into your homeschool world a little bit and tell me kind of what goes on with homeschooling.
I think of myself as more like an educational facilitator for my children. We're going into our 5th year of homeschooling, and we've tried so many online programs and so many different things. And finally, last year, I just signed the waiver and I said, we're just, flying solo on this. So things have morphed as they've gotten older. I mean, my son's going into 7th grade, and so we're kind of arguing about what to do with that. And then my daughter's going into 5th grade. Obviously, I took her to Kenya for a month, which I feel, and she's coming with me this fall, so I feel like, well, that's pretty much the best education she's going to get all year, is what she experiences there. But I have gotten to the point where I hired a math teacher to teach my kids math. And they're doing a language arts program this fall, because those are really the linear things that kids learn, where you kind of learn in order. Everything else, it's more organic, and you can, although the school requirements are that they learn it by a certain age,
right?
For homeschooling, it's like learn it whenever you want to learn it. Learn it whenever it comes into your life. So we homeschool sporadically through the summer, but really our focus is, I really am so much a believer in letting kids learn as they learn and play as they play. And after 4 years of doing this, I've learned to really have trust that I don't have to sit there with my kids for hours a day hammering stuff into them. They will learn what they want to learn, and they always surprise me. And I'll say, how did you know that? Oh, from Emperor's New Groove. Oh, like I have this theory that you could literally homeschool your kids entirely from Disney movies and they would know everything, because Disney pretty much covers everything. So it's always something that, how did you know that about, cumulus and cirrus clouds from Magic School Bus Science? Oh, okay. I didn't teach them that. So really it's a matter of making sure that they have access to resources and then letting them learn what they're going to learn, but making sure that with math and language arts, I keep up with that so that if I ever need to put them in school, I have that option.
Right.
So,
and then throughout the summer, are they still do you go by a schedule or dates or anything like that? Neither do we. I just wondered because, since it's spring break. No, that's for public school spring break. We're, you get a day off on a Tuesday when they're all in school and we go to a movie, or.
Exactly. Yeah. I just am I really integrate them into my life. I mean, I run a business and I'm doing business strategy for clients all the time. And I have meetings all the time. My daughter comes with me. I mean, she really does. My son's old enough that he can stay home alone when we need him to. And and he's just fine with that, because then he doesn't have to deal with his little sister. But she comes with me to meetings all the time. I just figure it's great for her because she's learning what I do. I'm really a big believer that if you're going to homeschool, lead out and take your kids with you so that they understand what you do, and then they can follow that. Then they're empowered to, well, my mom did whatever she wanted to do and she hauled people to Africa, or she did this. And so if I'm not living my dreams, you're living your dream, I'm living my dream. If we're not doing that, how on earth are we supposed to show our kids to live their dreams when they come up? Oh, no, wait, we want you to live your dreams, but really we're going to put you in this box because we did the same thing. So to me, that's the most important thing that I can ever teach my kids is, listen, it's going to be messy, and you're going to think, and people are going to think you're crazy, and you might lose friends over it, and you might lose sleep over it, and you'll wonder why you wake up every morning and that, some of your closest friends live on 2 continents and an ocean away, but it'll be fun. And, so if I can teach my kids that's really what's important to me.
Well, let's switch in. You mentioned business. Let's switch into your business. Give me an update. What's happening, and what projects are you working on?
Well, for 3 years, I've been really focused on doing one-on-one business strategy with clients. It doesn't work as well when I'm spending so much time on the humanitarian side. So I'm in the process of automating my brain. I've done years and years and years and years of training in social media and internet marketing and business and sales. And so I'm taking everything that I've learned and I'm putting it into my own programs and creating my own vault. So prior to leaving for Kenya in May, I did a whole Simplify Your Social program, because really I got so tired of clients saying, tell me what to post and when. I'm like, wait, what are you contributing to the social media world? You know, this isn't just about what to post and when. This is about what do you want to say and what do you want to receive back from that world. And so I developed 6 principles of networking that can apply to anything. It can apply to social. It can apply to a networking event that you go to. And it's literally taking people through and saying, you wouldn't go to a lunch and stand in the corner of the room with a big poster meme and say, this is what I have to say today, and this is very important. You know, I mean,
we should try that. See how
I'm all for memes. I'm not like, yeah, seriously. You probably get attention, but I'm all for memes, but really, like, it's about the connection. It's about the conversations. It's about the engagement. In fact, that's why 100 Humanitarians doesn't have a page. It only has a group, because I said a page is just about me saying this is what we're doing. A group is about the collaboration.
Yes.
So I created Simplify Your Social. In August, I'm going to launch Simplify Your Strategy, and basically take people through the process that I take my one-on-one clients through in building out their 90-day strategy. Because as you know, and I know, in the entrepreneur world, your business changes on every 90 days. You know, like what happened 90 days ago? Oh, I met new people. I have new opportunities. So building out that 90-day strategy and then empowering people to, okay, when these opportunities show up, which they always do when you create a plan and you meet people, how are you going to integrate that, or does it even fit? Because we say yes to too much. So I'm doing that, and you know, just so that I can put myself in a position where I can do webinars, or I can train people online, and then give them access to that. And I still do my one-on-one strategy, but I'm building it out so that I can serve more people as I try and change the world. I don't know. No, as I try and change myself, and as I try and serve more people. So it's just time for that. I mean, I've been doing the entrepreneur thing for 6 years now. And so I feel like I've got a lot more that I can contribute in different ways. So that's what I'm working on.
So how do people find the Simplify Your Social? That's the one that's finished right now, right?
It's finished, and as soon as I finish my landing page for it, it will be on my website at HeidiTotten.com.
Okay.
So that's the problem is that I do things where I create something and then I go to Kenya, and then I have to like retrain my brain back into business. And so I was creating a sales page for it with with my support team. And I said, she was going through it with me, and she was saying like, okay, what are you going to have here? And what's this module about? What's that module about? And I said, I got to go back and watch it. I don't remember what I said. I mean,
I did this months ago.
that was so March, it's like July. I mean, so I kind of do this brain dump, but that happened to me when I went in 2015. If you remember, I wrote that book about balancing business and homeschool.
Yeah.
And I launched it on my birthday, and it hit bestseller and on Amazon, which isn't that hard to do, but especially if you release a homeschool book on a Tuesday. But I was really excited about it, and I was like, yay, I hit Amazon bestseller. And then 2 days later I went to Kenya, and when I got back, somebody said, how's your book doing? And I was like, oh, I wrote a book. I mean, really, once I get something out of my head, it's like Dumbledore from Harry Potter. I'm like, and I've released that. Okay, wait, you want me to go back and tell you what that was? I mean, it's that constant movement and constant creation, and that's going on all the time, and ADHD and whatever or ADD that I have to create and implement and launch and then let it go. Yeah. So at this point,
if it's interrupted, then it kind of, it's like starting all over again.
Exactly. And so yeah, that's actually my assignment for tonight, is to watch this 6 hours of content that I have in my program and say, all right, and next time I'm going to learn from this, that no, like build out the sales page and at the same time.
Yeah, or do an outline ahead of time so you know what you talked about, and then you just pull your objectives from the outline.
Exactly. So yeah, I've always done it backwards. I've always just like, hey, just create it, and then like that's okay. That's okay. It's just how I do things. So yeah.
Well, you're doing a lot of things. A lot of amazing things.
It's fun. It's really fun. It's been interesting. You know, I've always built other people's stuff for 6 years. It's always been, I'm building their platform, their platform, their platform, their platform. And this is the first time where literally I'm like, wow, I'm not answering to anybody. I'm not like interested. I mean, it's interesting to just say, this is sort of my focus, and even though it's very collaborative, I still know that it's me, and then I'm not reporting to someone else saying, okay, is it okay that I'm doing this? You know, so it's really empowering to just say, okay, it's okay to just step out and do your own thing. And as my husband likes to say, haters gonna hate, potatoes gonna potate, alligator's gonna alligate. You know? So yeah, I mean, there's definitely a shift that takes place when you decide that you're just gonna step into your own thing, and that's been an interesting lesson to learn and experience. But it's been great. And then the people that come into your life, or the people that stay in your life, are awesome. You know, and they're people who receive from you and give to you. And I think that's really, in the entrepreneur world, that's where authenticity shows up, when you can support other people and receive from other people, and it's a two-way street instead of it getting blocked where you feel like you're constantly giving, supporting, and they're happy to receive from you, but they're not giving anything in return. So, and those are just some lessons that I've gotten to learn that have been really powerful, but it's the most valuable experiences of my life, to be able to understand those relationships better and understand how I can serve people better. So, yeah. All right. What about you? I don't even know where you are in the world.
Oh my gosh. Well, over the last month, we were supposed to be in Leavenworth, Washington, after about a week in Spokane, Washington. And we only stayed a day in Spokane, and then went to Leavenworth and extended our stay there. And our internet connection has just not been the best. And so yesterday we packed up and moved again. And for those of you that don't know, we live full-time in a motorhome. This is our motorhome that I'm in right now.
And you got a new one recently, right?
Well, a year ago, yes. So
really?
I know. It's been a long time.
Wow.
So we used to do these calls with me back in the bedroom, and now I actually have a little place. We still don't have an office, but a little place where I can be more comfortable. But so we live full-time in our motorhome, and we travel around launching Chicks Connect chapters, and also just doing our work from the road, living our dream like Heidi's talked about earlier. And right now we're in a little town called Quincy, Washington. And like I said, we just arrived here yesterday. It's right by Wenatchee.
Okay.
It's beautiful, very beautiful, kind of near Lake Chelan, and a lot of mountains and hills and trees and water, and it's just gorgeous. So we're excited to be here, and we do have a fairly good internet connection, so we figure we can stay. Living a traveling lifestyle, you have some things to consider, like, is there sewer hookup? You know, those of you, I'm sure in Kenya, they probably have some issues around sewer and things like that. Those people in
train pits. Yeah.
Yeah. So people in sticks and bricks probably take their sewer for granted. They go in the bathroom, they flush a toilet, no big deal. But when you live a mobile lifestyle, or you live in a third world country, sewer becomes an issue. So we like to be places where there's actually a sewer hookup. We have that here. And then the other thing is the amp for electricity. So we have 50 amp here, which is great because we can run our air condition, because we have a little puppy, and well, she's not a puppy, she's just a small dog. And, so we need to make sure that we have some things that make our life okay while we're in these campgrounds so that we can live and work and do school and all of that.
And how do you decide what campgrounds to go to? Is there like websites where you can look this stuff up?
Yeah, we have a membership to something called Thousand Trails, and it's almost like a timeshare. So we purchased, you spend a large amount of money up front, and then you pay an annual dues. And so we can stay here in any Thousand Trail. I think there are about 86 of them or something across the country, and we can stay there for free for up to 3 weeks at a time. So every 3 weeks we need to move. And but if you think about it, when you're able to pay that fee up front, and you don't pay a nightly fee, so there's no rent or mortgage, there's no garbage, there's no sewer, there's no electricity, payment is what I mean. We have all those things, but we don't have to pay for it. So it's really a cost-effective way of living. And so many people say, oh, I'd have to save up to live that lifestyle. I don't know how you do it. And you must be retired or independently wealthy. And it's like, this is like a fourth of what it costs to live in a regular home. So, so anyway, if it's a lifestyle I'd love to share with people. We have a lot of people that have been following us on Facebook, and one of our members of Chicks Connect just set off in her motorhome with her husband, and they're at their very first RV park right now in Bend, Oregon. And so she just sent me a message that it was fun to be inspired, by our travels. And we've been doing this now 4 years, if you can believe it, over 4 years.
I know. I was going to say, because I think I met you about 4 years ago at this time.
Yeah, when we first started.
Yeah. That I can't believe it's been 4 years. Like because I remember our first conversation, and you had just basically gotten started. You were really, Chicks Connect maybe had a few chapters. It wasn't very big. How many chapters are you at now?
Well, we have about 83 leaders, and we have about 48 active chapters, and the other ones are in the process of launching or just, signed up. Or so we're kind of expanding. We had some great growth in Arizona and Reno, so with 2 new leaders over there that are launching chapters, and so that's fun.
I need you to come back to Utah.
I know. I need to. And that's Utah is the state that we say, when people ask, oh, where have you loved? Where do you want to go? Where should we visit? We say, go to Utah. It's the most unique landscape, and then Salt Lake City. I love that city. It's so clean and beautiful and fun. So, we love it for both those reasons. So definitely we need to get back to Utah, and maybe this year we'll get back over there. But
well, when these Maasai warriors come, if you can come this fall, it would be really fun to, to host like a Chicks Connect fundraiser combination lunch, something here. That would be cool.
Yeah. Let's plan it. Why not?
Okay. Why not?
I might not be the full family. We the other thing that's kind of interesting about this lifestyle is that there are a lot of work options on the road. So, some people might say, well, I can't leave my job, or I need to, work, or I need to supplement my retirement. There are numerous ways to make money on the road. Even if you don't know how to do internet marketing, you can do physical work. So my husband works at the sugar beet harvest once a year in North Dakota, and he's a foreman on a, runs a crew for the sugar beet harvest. And I didn't even know sugar beets existed. I always thought it was sugar cane that made sugar, but they actually have, volleyball-sized beets that are white on the inside, and that makes white sugar. So he does that. Other people have done like fireworks stands or Christmas tree sales, pumpkin sales, camp hosting. A family that also has twins. We have twin 14-year-old boys. She has boy-girl twins, homeschools her twins, and, road school, that's what we call it. But they spent, I want to say, is it Yellowstone? I think they spent a whole month in Yellowstone, and they were guides for the trails, and so her kids were actually, after they went through the program a few times, able to teach and take people out on the trails and teach them about the plant and animal life throughout the process. And what an enriching, opportunity. And you know, an amazing thing that they were able to do. That family also visited all the 50 state capitals. So all across the country, and wrote down blogs about each one. And yeah, so another family living their dreams, that's for sure.
And you know, that's the thing, is that honestly, it's so inspiring. It really is so inspiring to see people do that, and to think, like, I wonder, okay, could I do that? Could I handle that versus the security of having, you know, a home to come home to? Well, I'm like, well, I want to build a house in Kenya. So I guess, sure, sign me up, you know, let's do it. I mean, understanding that everybody's at different places in their life where they can make changes like that or create something like that. But kudos to you, because I know, you know, that was when your life turned on a dime.
Yeah.
It was, you know, 4 years ago. But the experiences that your boys have been able to have, the people they've been able to meet, the places they've been able to go, how do you possibly duplicate that other than to do what you have done? There's just no way. So I just think that that's amazing. And I think you need to come with me to Kenya.
All right. I'll have to figure that one out. Yeah, I'd love to take my boys too. So we'll figure that out at some point.
They get to play with Maasai warriors. In fact, the boys that came with us, we had 3 boys with us on the second trip, and we went and visited the Maasai village where David grew up. And then they took the boys away. They were like, we're taking them to warrior training, and they killed a goat, and they learned how to throw spears and how to use machetes and how to do all the stuff. And they dressed them up in the traditional shukas. And we, you know, I think there's like some things that happen that we don't know about. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, it was just like, how do you compare that? It's just such a cool experience. I mean, the Maasai are one of the most remote tribes in the world, and we get to hang out with them. So your boys would love it.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be amazing.
Yeah. So we'll plan that too.
Well, and you said, you know, you would want to come home to the comforts of your own home. But I think if you ask anybody that lives in, you know, a traveling, either a fifth wheel trailer or a motorhome, that they consider it their home. You know, The thing about our home is that it takes 20 minutes to clean from top to bottom versus 20 hours. And you talked about the simplified lifestyle, and we really do have that. You know, things that come in, things are constantly going out. And, you know, we're able to keep things to a minimum because we just don't have the space for them. And so that also, you know, what I realized when I was in Sticks and Bricks is that I spent a lot of time cleaning and organizing and dealing with toys, and just, you know, any free time was spent picking up the house. And now my free time is really free, you know, and so I can do things that I wasn't doing before. And I'm exercising now, you know, and I'm just...
Wait. Sorry, you're exercising? What?
Well, it's called pickleball.
Oh, that's right.
Exercising.
That's right.
It's a game that we play. I know. I haven't really embraced the whole exercise thing. I mean, we love to hike and all of that. I just don't like to get on a machine and stand there and do that for 20 minutes. That's not me. But we love to hike and swim, and we love to just float and raft. And there's so many things to do out in you know, just the beautiful parts of America that we've been able to see, and Canada. We've been up in Canada a couple of times.
Oh, nice.
So that's what we have going on. We'll be here for about another month, and then I'll head at the end of the month. I'll head to CEO Space.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess it's the last time that they're doing it in Las Vegas. So CEO Space, I know you've been there before numerous times, and it's probably about my 4th time. And for years and years and years, they've held it in Las Vegas 5 times a year. And they didn't re-up their agreement with the new hotel staff, I guess, or the new hotel ownership. And so it looks like it might be over in Florida from here forward. Wow. So they're making a big shift and a change. But for those of you that don't know, CEO Space is a place where entrepreneurs and business owners join together, and they learn and grow. And like Heids was talking about, creating, learning so many things from experts on how to do internet marketing or social media marketing, as well as just the legal ramifications of owning your own business and the tax liabilities and all of that. We learn all of that at a program called CEO Space. And so you can ask either one of us for information on that if you want more info. Are you a club president with them?
No, I actually haven't been to the full forum. That's the irony, is that I've been down there a couple of times, and I have been like, I can go at any time and go to the full forum. The problem is having a whole week where I can go down there. And I had been talking about going down like in September or December of this year. But again, with the amount of time that I have to take now for Kenya, it just, and I keep thinking, I mean, that's interesting. I've never been to Florida, so maybe that would be really fun to, to go during a not hot time of year. Is there a not hot time of year?
Well, December. So the December forum, and typically the December forum is kind of a big one. People like to go to that one, I guess. So that would be a great time to be in Florida. But we're inside the majority of the time anyway, so it doesn't really matter where we are. We're in classes, and we don't go hang out by the pool when you're at CEO Space. It's definitely entrepreneurs networking with one another and building relationships and providing each other value. And so anyway, so I'm excited for that, and I'm actually going to staff this one. So it'll be my first time helping out and volunteering with that, but I like to do that whenever I can, and just give back, and it gives you the opportunity to see things from a different point of view as well when you're a staff versus a participant. So I'm excited for that. So that's at the end of July, and then my boys turn 15. August 2nd, so we'll spend a day in Silverwood theme park over in Idaho, and that's a lot of fun. And then we'll head over to North Dakota for that sugar beet harvest that I was telling you about.
And that's in September?
And that is in, September and October. And 1st of October, this is something I wanted to share with everyone. If you are in or around Maryland or want to be in and around Maryland on October 2nd, I'll be doing participating with the Maryland Women's Expo. And so it's a full day event on October 2nd. And I'll be speaking at that event, as well as, we'll have a little vendor table and things. But it's I've been there before, and it's run by the CEO, Patsy Anderson. And so so if anybody's interested in having a vendor booth there or speaking there, and then she's also looking for ambassadors from every state. And there's some extra perks, like your hotel is paid for, you get to participate in a luncheon, and essentially you're just an ambassador that's there to represent that state, and also be a resource in case anyone's looking to, visit that state or do business in that state or something. Just be a resource point person. So that's coming up. And then what else do we have? Oh, I'm speaking on a cruise. So I'm super excited about that. It's called the Leadership Cruise. And I'll do a screen share for that one real quick for anyone who might who loves to cruise. Have you ever been on a cruise?
I haven't. And how many times have we talked about doing a Chicks Connect cruise and figuring, I just, honestly, the thing that I struggle with is that there are just not enough weeks in the year and enough time. And, my kids are just young enough that, my son, I can leave home alone, but my daughter, I can't, and I can't leave her alone with him because that's just a disaster, And so I keep thinking I'm probably like 2 or 3 years away from where that shift can take place, where I can bring them with me and they're more adults than kids, So yeah, it's just, I just am, kind of waiting for that time period, but enjoying the time period now. But my day will come where I'll do that. So.
Well, yeah. Sharon Frame is the CEO and founder.
I met her.
Oh, you did? Where and when?
I think I met her at eWomen Network at the eWomen convention down in Dallas last year.
That could very well be. She is a former CNN anchorwoman and has left CNN and started her own entrepreneurial business.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And so
Oh,
this is her
weird.
cruise, and she has done it now for 4 years. And this year we'll go to Grand Cayman Islands and Jamaica. So we're super excited. And I think either eWomen or Prosperity Women Network, or somehow we're going to connect with one of the women's organizations in Jamaica and actually do some, just meeting of each other and supporting them in any way we can. So we're super excited about that. And so it's November 12th through the 17th. It's a 5-day cruise, and then we'll have speakers, talking throughout the days when we're at sea, and then we'll go on land when we actually come to port. So that's
Awesome.
something I wanted to share, and I'm super excited about as well. And then with Chicks Connect, of course, we have our Chicks Connect Inspiration Celebration. We do that once a year, and it's a big event where all the chapters come together in a particular place. We don't have the location set, but that'll be in January. And just really what we're looking for with Chicks Connect are women that want to join together and grow their business, but also do things like you're talking about, do things for other people. Every chapter adopts a charity, and some of the charity work that are happening that's happening within our chapters. We have one chapter that's taking food and clothing to homeless, and so they're gathering things like socks and coffee and different things, sandwiches and granola bars and water, things like that they can take down and deliver to the homeless in their particular area. Another chapter, I visited this chapter in Gresham, and they shared every week they take a collection of just change or dollars or whatever they want to collect at their meeting. And then at the holiday time, they adopt women in transition and their families, and
Wow.
they set up Christmas for them, so they get them the food and the presents and the tree if necessary, and clothing, just whatever it is they need. They adopt 2 or 3 families of single women who are in transition, of really working toward bettering their lives. So they're either in school or they're working 2 or 3 jobs or something just to try to make ends meet for their family, and they're given those names, and they help in that way. So, and then we have a lot of the chapters that have a heart for pets, and so they're doing things for their local shelters and things. So we have a real give back component, and then also fun. And so what we find is that sometimes women forget to have fun, and they need to schedule that into their calendar. So we actually have a fun chick in each chapter that schedules the fun for the women, and they're doing things like beach trips or going out for spa days or just doing art. They go to, I think it's Wine and Van Gogh or something. So they go to an evening place where they learn how to do a painting while sipping wine or something. So there's lots of different fun activities that they're doing. We even had a group go for a weekend and rock hound. They dug up rocks, and then they had them polished and turned into gemstones. So just some really neat, fun activities that the women are doing together. And we've been doing this now for 5 years. So Chicks Connect's been around for about 5 years, and it's just
That's longevity.
yeah. So, and you talked about getting the download and just needing to follow that, and that same thing happened for me. So I know we're coming right up on our time. I wanted to make sure that people could send you a text or send me a text if they have any questions about anything. So I wanted to make sure that we post our phone numbers. So just text my number, which is 541-390-9873. If you'd like the opportunity to speak at the Maryland Women's Expo, or if you'd like to participate on the leadership cruise, or if you'd like to launch a chapter of Chicks Connect in your own hometown or an online chapter. We do have one online chapter right now, but really the power is bringing the women together locally, but we still love our online chapters as well. And so we encourage you to do whatever works for you. And Heidi, tell them about yours.
Well, really, it's, if you're interested in having a consultation about your business and, building out strategies for social media, for your marketing, for sales, I would love to talk to you. And I do free consultations to see if it even makes sense for us to work together, obviously. If you want to join 100 Humanitarians, just go to the Facebook group and click join. And, we would love to have you and love to have you join in the conversation about how we can work together to just create these changes for these families. So And if you want to go to Kenya, we're doing that too.
Awesome. And so I want to just show one other website where you can get some free gifts. So if you go to chicksconnect.com and then / radio gifts, you can download my organizing book for free, as well as 4 examples of personal growth and development activities. So again, it's chicksconnect.com / radio gifts. And just click on this and it'll ask for your name and email, and you'll get the easy way to organize, how to get rid of the mess without the stress, and a bundle of personal and professional growth and development activities along with our newsletter. So
Awesome.
Heidi, thank you so much. It's so great to get caught up, and I'm super excited to follow you in the 100 Humanitarians group and see how we can support that. I'm also happy to put that in our newsletter. So send me any kind of blurbs or pictures, and we'll get these chicks on board in supporting you and your efforts as well.
Awesome. Let's do that. Yeah. We're actually doing humanitarian classes for kids, and I have a friend in Tennessee that said, fly out and I will organize, a class, because there's a huge homeschooling community in Tennessee she's a part of. So it's kind of taken on a life of its own for how this can grow and how we can impact the next generation as well. So
let me plant a little bug in your ear. We're going to be in Kentucky for Halloween. So why don't you bring your kids and come to Kentucky for the Halloween meetup. It's a nomadic homeschoolers meetup. So
I'll be in Kenya.
Oh, you'll be in Kenya
on Halloween.
Yeah.
Okay,
I was going to say, but well, then right after that, we're heading to Tennessee. So that's what I was thinking, if it would all work. But I guess
I should connect you to my friend in Tennessee, because she's just adorable. She lived, just down the street from us, moved from Tennessee, and then they moved back because her husband's job was still there. So yeah, but she's adorable. You'd love her.
All right. We'll make the connection, and we will talk to you in a couple of weeks.
Okay. Perfect.
All right. Signing off. This is Jules.
And this is Hides.
And we're 2 girls who talk about stuff.